They changed the rules, and millions of retirees have no idea. The Social Security Administration just confirmed a brand new payment structure. And if you're collecting benefits right now or planning to in the next few years, what you don't know could literally cost you thousands of dollars. We're not talking about small adjustments. We're talking about changes that could shift when you get paid, how much lands in your account, and what steps you need to take before the deadline hits. And here's the part that's making people furious. The SSA isn't exactly sending out reminder letters. Most retirees are finding out too late. Are you on Social Security disability, retirement benefits, survivor benefits? It doesn't matter. This affects all categories. And the people who act fast? They're the ones walking away with every dollar they're entitled to. The people who wait? They're leaving money on the table. Money they already earned. I've broken down exactly what changed, who it affects, the key dates you absolutely cannot miss, and the simple steps you need to take right now to make sure your payments are protected and maximized. This isn't fear-mongering. This is your money, your retirement, your future. Whether you're 62 or 82, you need to watch this entire video before your next payment date arrives. And if you find this information valuable, because trust me, you will, smash that like button right now so more retirees can find this before it's too late. Let's get into it. So let's get right into it. Because what the Social Security Administration just confirmed is something every single retiree and near retiree in this country needs to understand before their next payment date. I know headlines like this get thrown around a lot online, and I get it. You've probably seen a dozen clickbait videos that promised big news and delivered absolutely nothing. That's not what we're doing here today. What I'm about to walk you through is real. It's confirmed, and it directly affects the money you've worked your entire life to earn. So stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly where you stand and exactly what to do next. Let's start with some important context, because understanding why these changes are happening makes it a whole lot easier to understand what the changes actually mean for you. The Social Security system has been under enormous pressure for years now. We have a massive wave of baby boomers who have been retiring at a rate of roughly 10,000 people per day for well over a decade. That's not a typo. 10,000 people every single day reaching retirement age, filing for benefits, and entering the system. At the same time, the number of workers paying into Social Security hasn't grown at the same pace. That gap between the people drawing from the system and the people funding it has been widening, and it's been forcing the SSA to make structural adjustments that ripple all the way down to your monthly check. Now here's where things get really important. The new payment structure that the SSA has confirmed involves changes across three major areas: payment timing and scheduling, benefit calculation adjustments tied to updated earnings formulas, and new verification requirements that beneficiaries need to be aware of. Let's walk through each one carefully, because each piece affects you in a different way depending on your situation. Starting with payment timing. If you've been receiving Social Security benefits for any length of time, you already know that the SSA operates on a staggered payment schedule. Your payment date is tied to your birthday, specifically the day of the month you were born. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th, you get paid on the second Wednesday of each month. If your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th, your payment arrives on the third Wednesday. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and the 31st, you receive your payment on the fourth Wednesday of the month. People who began receiving benefits before May of 1997 have always been on a different schedule and typically receive their payments on the third of each month. What's changing now is how the SSA processes and releases those payments on the back end, and this matters more than people realize. The SSA has updated its internal disbursement system, and for a small but significant percentage of recipients, this has already caused payment delays ranging from 2 to 5 business days. If you've noticed your direct deposit hitting your account slightly later than expected in recent months, this is very likely the reason. Now, for most people, a 2 or 3 day delay isn't catastrophic. It's inconvenient but manageable. But for the millions of seniors who are living on a fixed income and have their bills, rent, prescriptions, and groceries timed around that exact deposit date, even a few days can create a cascade of overdrafts, late fees, and financial stress that's completely unnecessary. The good news is that if you call your bank or credit union and simply notify them that your SSA deposit schedule may shift slightly during this transition period, many institutions will work with you to adjust automatic payment dates and avoid those fees. Now let's talk about the benefit calculation changes, because this is where things get really significant for a lot of people. The SSA uses something called the Average Indexed Monthly Earnings Formula, or AIME, to calculate your base benefit amount. This formula takes your highest 35 years of earnings, adjusts them for inflation using what's called wage indexing, and then runs them through a set of bend point calculations to determine your primary insurance amount, which is the foundation of your monthly check. The bend points, the dollar thresholds at which different percentage rates apply, are updated every single year. But what's happening now represents a more substantial recalibration than the typical annual adjustment. What this means practically is that people who are in the process of claiming benefits right now, or who plan to claim in the next 12 to 18 months, may see their benefit amounts calculated differently than they would have expected based on older estimates. If you've been using the SSA's online tools or a third-party calculator to estimate your benefits, and you did that calculation more than 6 months ago, you need to go back and run those numbers again. I can't stress this enough. Outdated estimates are one of the single biggest reasons people end up disappointed, and sometimes financially shortchanged, when their actual benefit amount comes through. Your My Social Security account at SSA.gov gives you access to your updated earnings record and current benefit estimates, and you should be checking that regularly, not just once before you file. There's also an important piece here for people who are still working while receiving Social Security benefits. If you're under your full retirement age and you're earning income above the annual earnings limit, which for 2024 was $22,320, the SSA withholds a portion of your benefits. For every $2 you earn above that threshold, $1 is withheld. This isn't a penalty, it's a deferral. Those withheld amounts are added back into your benefit once you reach full retirement age, spread out over your remaining benefit years. But under the new structure, the earnings test thresholds have been recalibrated, and the recapture calculation, the way those withheld dollars are added back, has been slightly adjusted. If this applies to your situation, it is absolutely worth calling the SSA directly or consulting with a benefits counselor to understand exactly how this recalibration affects your specific timeline and payout. Now let's get into the verification requirements, because this is the part that is catching the most people off guard right now and honestly creating the most confusion. The SSA has significantly stepped up its identity verification and eligibility review processes, and this is being driven by two things simultaneously. First, there has been a documented increase in fraudulent Social Security claims and identity theft targeting seniors. It's a serious and growing problem. Second, there are ongoing legislative pressures to ensure that the benefit rolls are accurate, meaning that people who are no longer eligible, whether due to changes in income, marital status, residency, or other factors, are properly identified and their benefits are adjusted accordingly. What this looks like on the ground is that a larger number of beneficiaries are receiving letters from the SSA requesting updated documentation. These letters are asking for things like proof of current address, updated direct deposit banking information, citizenship or residency documentation, and in some cases, documentation related to dependents listed on a beneficiary's account. If you receive one of these letters, do not ignore it. I want to be very direct about this because the instinct for a lot of people when they receive official-looking mail is to assume it's a scam and throw it away. And in fairness, there are a lot of Social Security scams circulating right now. But legitimate SSA correspondents will never ask you for payment, will never threaten immediate legal action over the phone, and will always direct you to SSA.gov or to your local SSA office for follow-up. If you receive a letter and you're not sure whether it's real, call the SSA directly at 1-800-772-1213, and they will tell you whether there's an action item on your account. Never call a number printed on a letter you're unsure about. Always look up the SSA's official number independently. For people who have not yet claimed Social Security but are approaching their eligibility window, the timing decisions you make right now are more important than ever given all of these structural changes. The age at which you claim benefits has a dramatic impact on how much you receive every single month for the rest of your life. You can claim as early as age 62, but if you do, your benefit is permanently reduced by as much as 30% compared to what you'd receive at your full retirement age. For most people retiring today, full retirement age is 67. And if you can delay beyond 67, every year you wait adds approximately 8% to your monthly benefit through what are called delayed retirement credits, up until age 70. After 70, there's no additional increase for waiting, so there's no strategic reason to delay past that point. The decision of when to claim is deeply personal and depends on your health, your financial situation, whether you have a spouse, and a range of other factors. But here's what the current environment is making clear. The people who go into this process informed, who understand the formulas, who check their earnings records for errors, and who think strategically about their claiming age and spousal benefit coordination consistently come out with significantly more lifetime income than people who simply file when they become eligible without doing any homework. We're talking about tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, of dollars in additional lifetime benefits for couples who optimize their claiming strategy versus those who don't. Speaking of spousal benefits, the new payment structure also touches on how spousal and survivor benefits are being calculated and paid out, and this deserves its own emphasis. If you are married, divorced after at least 10 years of marriage, or widowed, you may be entitled to benefits based on your spouse or ex-spouse's earnings record rather than your own, if that amount would be higher. The SSA's updated verification process is catching a lot of cases where eligible people were simply never informed that they qualified for these benefits, and they've been leaving money behind. Divorced survivors, in particular, are an underserved group in this area. If you were married for a decade or more and your ex-spouse had significantly higher earnings than you, it is worth a phone call to the SSA to explore what you might be entitled to. This doesn't affect your ex-spouse's benefits in any way. It's a separate claim drawn from their earnings record. One more thing I want to make sure we cover before we wrap up, and that's the topic of Social Security and taxes. A lot of people are surprised to learn that Social Security benefits can be taxable, and not in a small way. If your combined income, which includes your adjusted gross income plus any non-taxable interest plus half of your Social Security benefits, exceeds $25,000 for an individual or $32,000 for a married couple filing jointly, up to 50% of your benefits may be subject to federal income tax. If that combined income number exceeds $34,000 for individuals or $44,000 for couples, up to 85% of your benefits can be taxed. The new payment structure hasn't changed the tax rules, but the recalibrated benefit amounts for some recipients are pushing people across these thresholds who weren't previously taxable. If you haven't reviewed your tax situation alongside your benefit changes, now is the time to do that. Ideally with a tax professional who is familiar with retirement income planning. The bottom line here is simple. Social Security is your money. You paid into this system through decades of hard work, and you deserve every dollar you've earned. But the system is complex, it's changing, and the people who get the most out of it are the ones who stay informed, stay engaged, and take action when action is needed. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Check your My Social Security account. Review your earnings record for errors. Understand your claiming options. And if you receive any correspondence from the SSA, take it seriously and respond promptly. These are not complicated steps, but they are critically important ones. And if you take them now, you put yourself in the strongest possible position to protect and maximize every benefit you've worked so hard to earn.